All right, here we are back again. Got Eric, Paul, Carl. Not doing all of them today. This is the last one I think I'm going to get to this afternoon, and I may or may not be able to reach back out this evening. Depends on how things go this evening. I've got some things I have to take care of. Depends on how long that takes. I'm having to cut the tape on the tube because this kind of tape just murder trying to get these off tubes. I wish people quit using Scotch tape on tubes. It's so hard to pull that off. Hello, Angie. Let's see. Okay, we got to it. This is 1952 right here. 1952, and after this one, 52D, I'm sorry, 1952 Denver. And then after this one, number 397, I have 4 more remaining for the week. Probably 2 tomorrow and 2 on Saturday or Sunday. All right, here we go. Ready to get hitting. Here we go. Coin number 1, penny hoarder. Let's see what we have. 1952D. Decent chance we could run into a couple of RPMs on this. There are no known double die reverses for 1952D. Repunch mint marks are, well, at least somewhat common. We could run into a few. Double dies would be an unknown case for this, but we are going to check the back of the first 10 coins just to check and see. Nice and bright on the inside there. Maybe we'll end up with a really nice roll. Let's see how that works out. That was coin number 1. Got nothing on coin number 1. Let's move on to coin number 2. Hello, Bill. And coin number 2. We have just a little bit of a die crack starting between the tail of the 9 and the D mint mark. That could be the die that becomes what we call the flying D because it has a die crack and chips that look like a wing. Could be that die. Let's see the reverse of this one. Now, right after that first coin came through, they turned much nicer real quickly. So this could be a very nice roll. And coin number 2 was a very nice one. Let's check and see what we end up with here. Coin number 3 looks like it's a nice one. Here is another one with a die crack between the 9 and the D mint mark. This looks very much like it could turn into the flying D. That would be the, well, probably one of the more interesting varieties of sorts. There's a die crack all the way to the rim from near the lapel all the way down to the rim. One of the more interesting looking little blobs for 1952D happens to be that little die chip that forms on the left side of the D mint mark. Turns out looking like a little wing. All right, here's number 4. One for Dennis. There's the other style of D mint mark. You got 2 styles of D mint mark for 1952. We've got this, the one that has kind of the flattened out top on it, and then the other one that looks more like a normal D mint mark. A little clash mark here of the Sea of Scent above the Y. Clash mark of the Sea of Scent from the other side of the coin, of course. See a little bit of the outline of the top of the head right there. There's a clash on the other side. And that was coin number 4. Let's move on and see coin number 5. And this one's for Steven. Where'd it go? There we go. So this is the other style, the original style of D mint mark that looks more rounded on the top. Everything looks nice and normal, kind of rounded looking. Then we run into another one of those others. I'll tell you when we see it again. But that would be the... I don't know that there is a name for either style of mint mark for 1952D, but there are 2 different styles. There's also 2 styles in 1953. Nothing really done to study either one of them that I know of. So we don't know which is less or more common. I think they're all kind of common. There's one. That's one of the flatter style of D. Flat top D. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it the flat top D. We have the normal D and the flat top D. And nothing going on with that one. Looks like we may have a chance of turning out a roll here that doesn't have any RPMs in it. I don't know how many times I've ever seen that for 1952D. 52 tends to always have something in it. Nice coins here, though. Some nice, clean-looking coins for 1952D, which is very commonly very bag-marked. These look pretty clean. Just another one for Dennis there. Let's move on to coin number 8 now. Coin number 8 for Yeoman. Seen this die. He's got a bunch of rough underneath his chin, under and around his chin. I've seen this die. Turns out to be, well, nothing going. We've got a bunch of cracking going on right here. Some die crack from the rim all the way up through part of the lapel. And then on the reverse, we have well, nothing, but it is nice looking reverse for a 1952D. I've actually got some very nice clean coins here. Clean, not in clean, but clean as in not messed up. Call it that, not messed up. Hello, Tim. Steven. One for Steven here. Not an RPM to be seen. It is a nice original roll. Kind of has that feel to it. You go through and you see a lot of markers that you have seen before. You keep seeing the same markers over and over. The coins are all the same color. These are even roughly the same die state, coin to coin. There's one for Eric. So we might call it kind of boring for die varieties, but you're looking for a nice 1952 D Lincoln cent, you've got it right here. These are in really good shape. This will be the last one we flip over onto the reverse to look at the reverse. Just assume that we've got some nice looking reverses. Eric will check the reverse on all these as he goes through the roll after I get these shipped off to Florida. Here's number 11. 11 for Carl. Nothing going on here. Now number 12. Number 12 for Malcolm. With that little die crack going on, that's about it. And number 13, Mr. Fletcher. I'm going to have to take off after this because I have packages all finished up for the week. And everybody's mail is going out today that did not go out earlier in the week. We have them all finished up, ready to go. So I'm going to take a trip to the post office. Then we have some furniture to go pick up and dinner to eat. And then perhaps, maybe after dinner, I can come back for a while. But I do have other work to try to get done as well. Trying to stay on top of everything, stay on top of all my packing, stay on top of getting all my reveals ready, getting all my inventory ready. And I can't do that if I'm here with you guys, so I have to get that work done at some point too, right? Hey, there's an RPM. Bam, there we go. That's a very nice looking example of a minor split upper serif, 1952D. We may have a split in the lower serif as well. Let's check here. Nope, don't see anything on the lower serif, just the upper serif. Pretty nice. That one's for Tim Morrell. Very, very seldom do you make it all the way through an original 1952 D roll without running into a repunch mint mark. So that one's for Tim. How come I do attribute like Wexler? How come I don't do attributing? Is that what you're asking? I'm not sure what you're asking, Bill. If you ask how come I don't do attributing like Wexler, because I spend all my time working on trying to update the website so that you can use the website to attribute your own coins. And in all the time that we spend working on the website, working on coins, working on photos, acquiring rolls, selling rolls, acquiring singles, selling singles, going through what I've already got and trying to get it attributed, I have no time left. So that's kind of how it works. John has been working on his information since the 1970s. I've only been working on mine for about 15-20 years now, 25 years. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, to update the website, update the information, do everything else I'm trying to do to keep everything together and keep this business flowing one day to the next. And it just gets to a point where I just can't, I've got to stop at some point. I'm already close to a 12-hour day, 7 days a week. I very seldom take a day off. But attributing is something that takes a lot of time. You're accepting packages from people to go through packages of coins with perhaps minor die varieties because, well, there's another RPM for you right there. Minor split upper and lower serif on a round top 52D. So yeah, your chances, in fact, of running across die varieties that are easy to identify when someone's sending them in with money to have them attributed is kind of slim. They're always going to send in the stuff that's really hard to identify. And when they send in the stuff that's hard to identify, it can take up to 30, 40 minutes a coin. You're at 30, 40 minutes a coin. You do 10 packages a week of a dozen coins per package, and you've spent your entire week doing that. Just don't have the time. There's one for Deanne. Just even as it is, I don't have enough time to do these shows for the reveals and then process the reveal coins thereafter and still do 2 auctions per week. And I'm trying to work on getting the time and energy together to get my web store back in shape. Die break in the upper 9 there. Started out as a crack, and it looks like the piece is going to fall out. Hasn't yet, though. That's interesting. Yeah, Angie, I think that adds a little bit of extra punch to the importance of the coins that are actually used on the website, because that gives you the personal touch that we've actually examined that very coin, that we've used that very coin for photographs, and that you own that very coin. That's always kind of fun. Here's one for Crispy. I'm feeling the possibility of a reveal plate coin here in this roll with that RPM that we found for Tim Morrell. That's a very crisp looking coin. Very nice, clean looking mint mark. We could maybe turn out using that one as a plate coin, but we'll have to see. Halfway through the roll now. Here's Dennis. Okay, nothing there. Nothing doubled on the I. If I had 3 people doing this work, 3 people here doing shipping, inventory acquisition, listing, things like that, and give me the time to just lay my eyes on a bunch of coins, I would probably try getting back into doing the attribution. But I I just don't have time. Oh, Mr. Worley. Hope your day is going great. We're having a really good Thursday here. Having really good weather outside. It is a little bit on the chilly side. There's another one of the RPMs right there. It's one of the small splits, upper and lower serif on a round top 52D. We have one other coin like this one that we've found so far in the roll. Eight coins ago. 19 and then number 27. So here is another. This one's a flat top. Starting to see the difference between the two. You have the round top and the flat top type. We just came up with names for them right here during this show. So you can feel like something's kind of special about this show. This is a flat top D mint mark. Here's something else interesting for you. The style of 5 used in the date 1952 Lincoln cents, 1 year type. They only used it in 1952. It's where you've got the dagger 5, the one that points straight. Comes out and points straight down toward the D. This D right here is the round top 52D. Has more of a normal D mint mark appearance. The other one has more of a stretched side-to-side looking appearance and a flat top on it. So this is what I'll call the round top. Hello, Roger Borland. I hope your day is a good day. Our temperatures here, though, wow, it is unusually cool here. Yeah, our temperatures are in the 50s as well. I think it's only about 64, 65 degrees outside. There's another flat top D. So you can compare the two. There's a flat top. But yes, 1952 is the only year the 5 in the date had that straight dagger bottom. All the rest of the years in the 50s had kind of a rounded bottom. Why they used this for 1 year only, I do not know. Another coin for Tim Morrell. He got lucky enough to get one of the flat top RPMs. The only one in this roll so far. This is another round top D. Round top. What should we call it? Round top or curve top? I think round top. Round top sounds better. The round top D. It's where the entire top rounds over. Yeah, we'll call it the round top. I like round top. Yeah, Angie likes round top, so we'll use round top. Another round top D. Now see, how many of you knew already that there were two types of D mint mark used in 1952? Not many people know that. It's not widely published information. Just something that you notice. Yeah, it's kind of one of those observation skills you notice as you're going through rolls. All right, here's coin number 33. These are very nice, clean-looking 1952 D Lincoln cents. So they are unusually nice, actually. A few of the coins in the roll are pretty average, but some of these are quite nice. Unlike the 63D roll we did today, that was a very average, if even that, roll for 1963. And I did a floor spill on those, so they happen to be laying all over the floor underneath me. I'm going to clean them up after I get finished with this reveal. Get my packages off to the post office, get my errands done, get dinner with the family, and then, well, come back here and back to work in the office. You see, when I'm not doing the shows like I'm doing here, and I'm not working on my next auction, I am often working on these flips. And you see how these flips already have the insert in them with the numbers and the names. Well, those have to be put together at some point by someone. That would be me. I have to do printing, flip insert printing, cutting. The non-linear upper mint mark style. Yeah, see, there's Coin Dragon likes to obfuscate and complicate. This is the non-linear upper mint mark style. Right here. I'm more of a clown. I call it round top. The cutter I have is an X-Acto. I like it. It's an X-Acto chopper. I like it well enough that I saw one at a flea market and I bought it just as a replacement. It's sitting in my closet. And then I saw one at a garage sale and I bought it. So I've got 3 of them. My primary for, well, when it gets nasty on me, if I can't sharpen it, I'll just toss it and start using the other. Well, Coin Dragon, that's when you open up the little voice command thing and you talk to your phone and let it do the words for you. However, if you try talking to it in your New York accent, it may not understand you. So you'll have to try to southernize your accent just a little bit. I kind of feel for you being from the Buffalo area. Now you live in Texas. It has to be kind of difficult at times to communicate with people. It's Carl. Cause in Texas, they don't sound anything like that. Voice to text. Yes, it would be entertaining. See what it does. Try it. See how it works. May be perfectly fine for you. Works well for me. Of course, I don't sound like a northerner, and I don't sound like a southerner, and I don't sound like much of anything other than just an American. Definitely don't have an English accent of any other type. So what kind of English accents do we have? Well, let's start off with English. English in itself, you probably got 6 or 7 different distinct accents, like the Cockney, and then you've got the Scottish, the Welsh, Middle England, and then probably a few others I don't remember, but then you've got Australian, New Zealand. Australia sounds different from New Zealand. Then you've got the Northern African English, like the Kenyan. And then you've got South African English, which again has more of a British sound, but not quite completely British sounding. Sounds like they're, well, mixed between English and Afrikaans. And what other English accents do we have? We have the American accents. So we've got the round California, we've got the Northwestern accent, we've got the Southern Texas type accent. Then Oklahoma sounds different from Texas. And then Kansas is different from either of those. And you get up to the North and South Dakota. Minnesota has its own accent. Then you've got Michigan, and then Ohio. Then there's the New York, Pennsylvania type, but then you've got the New York Lakes, and then you've got the New York City, and then you've got the difference between Bronx and Long Island, or Long Island. Then you've got Staten Island. Then you've got Connecticut, Rhode Island are pretty much the same. Then you've got Massachusetts. Then the Mainas, they have a different language altogether. They hardly speak the same English. Then you swing back around to Louisiana. Just about every state just has its own dialect. It is very, very different here in the United States. The one place that has its own accent, that's one of the smallest areas that has its own accent in the entire world, or the entire United States anyway, about the world, but is Savannah, Georgia. The way they speak English in the Savannah area is different from anyone else. It has kind of the southern drawl, but it has a very distinct Victorian difference. If you ever hear Paula Deen, she has a very Savannah sound. It's pie crust. And sugar. You drop the R's, but you still have a very southern accent. So it sounds kind of like Boston mixed with Atlanta. And then Florida. Well, I don't even know about Florida. Florida doesn't really have an accent of its own. It takes its accent from all of the different people from all of the other 49 states that moved to Florida. So you've got people who've lived most of their life in Florida who are police officers in Fort Lauderdale who sound like they're from New Jersey, which, by the way, has its own accent. New Jersey, New York are different. Delaware and New Jersey are different. Heck, even within certain states, you've got Philadelphia, and then you've got Pittsburgh. Very different from one another, and they're both in Pennsylvania. And then Harrisburg's just kind of stuck in between. So yeah, English has a large number of different forms. If I had to put mine in the mix and say I speak XX English, my English would probably be closer to, I would say, Kansas or Iowa than any other. Probably a northern Midwestern sound. I do that kind of on purpose. Because when I was brought up, I was raised actually in Memphis, Tennessee. And having been raised in Memphis, Tennessee, and I went into the military right after high school, and I was one of the very southern gentlemen of the lot. Oh, Dad learning coins? Yes, the conversation has gone astray. Yes, we have not found much. We have found 2 different RPMs so far. One copy of and 2 copies of the other. And other than that, we found a lot of decent 1952 D Lincoln cents, but really nothing else. 52D is often a baggy, icky-looking issue, and these coins came out really nice. So there's Jim Fletcher, last coin, number 50, last coin of the roll. What does Jim get? Yeah, well, it's normal, like a lot of the other ones. It looks like this is going to be a rather variety-free roll. Rather enough that we can probably just go back through and take a look at the varieties under the scope again, because we've got a total of 2 different ones. 3 coins total. This one belonged to Tim Morrell. Has a Minor split on the upper serif. We found one of those, coin number 15. And then this is coin number 27. This belongs to Deanne. You can see that there are splits on the upper and lower serif. Relatively small splits on both the upper and the lower serif. We found two of these in the roll. The other one's coin number 19 for Malcolm. So we got 19 and 27. And that's all we found in here. The rest of the coins are, well, normal. So that's what we have in this particular roll. I do have a few minutes if anybody wants to come up with any questions or ask anything or make any comments. I'm going to get a rubber band around these before I have a chance to floor sort them. Actually, the last pile I did, the 1963D, those had a rubber band around them, and they somehow came out floor sorted anyway. That's what I normally do right there. All y'all. Well, yeah, I can tell you, y'all is just saying more than one person. Then all y'all is everybody. Everybody in the room, all y'all. So if I could say Tim and Angie, y'all are good people. But then I could say everybody here, all y'all are good people. The 42D roll will be, I'm going to get to it tomorrow. It's going to be a Friday afternoon thing. 42D and 43D will be tomorrow, and then Saturday or Sunday I will work on trying to get to the two special rolls. I'll do everything. The reason I want to do these tomorrow is because I want to do them in the evening. I'm not sure that today is going to be a good day for me to get into these particular rolls, but I may be able to get to them. I think I've got them scheduled for tomorrow. 42D, no, I've got them scheduled for later today. And then the 43D I've got scheduled for later today. I'll see what I can do about getting back to them at 8 and 9 o'clock tonight as they're scheduled. I'll see about that. We'll try that. Well, see, and I can tell that Angie is Southern right there when she says Southern slang is whole variety of its own, and half don't make sense. So the don't make sense tells you that you're Southern, because a lot of Northerners would say doesn't make sense. So if it don't make sense, that's a Southern thing. Doesn't make sense would be a Northern thing. It's just like certain parts of the country, instead of saying I saw it, they say I seen it. That's a very Midwestern thing, generally. A Midwestern thing to say I seen it instead of I saw it. I've done a lot of, I guess a lot of what you might call study. I don't know what you want to really say, study, I guess, in the different affinities of the dialects of the English language in the United States. Pay a lot of attention to the way people talk and how they sound when they do it. North Carolina has its own definite different distinctions. And it's definitely distinctions. There are completely different dialects within North Carolina. James, the answer to that question is probably no. The pandemic really screwed up that whole effort to a point where a year and a half, 2 years after I started it, I still didn't have enough data for like the first 3 months. And it just turns out that boxes of pennies are becoming scarce enough in certain areas that it may never be possible to really get a nationwide count of what we have. There's a lot of people, Roger, who used certain words that no longer do. My grandfather, when he tells you that he'll be there in just a minute, that's kind of how we would say it now. I'll be there in just a minute, or I'll be there very soon. Some people say, well, I'll be there shortly. Well, my grandfather would say, I'll be there directly. And directly was his way of saying it. I'll be there directly. He had other things that he used that were different from anyone else I'd ever heard, and I just think it was because of the age of the person, the time they were born, when they grew up, what they grew up with. As my grandfather, he was born in 1911, and he used a term, window glass. That was the one that you roll up on the sides of the car, on the driver's side and the passenger side. He'd say, roll up your window glass. We'll be there in time. Yeah. I've had sufficient. It's all English, I'll tell you what. But we do use very different bits of language and how we communicate with one another. And it is rather interesting how we use different words to communicate with each other, and we use different words than each other does. Yet we continue to somehow keep our individualism as we continue to use our language the way we use it. Yet we can fully understand each other most of the time. Almost all the time, we can understand each other very well. That I've always found to be a very interesting thing. The Greek language is spoken by far fewer people in far lower areas, or far lesser areas of the world, mostly just in Greece. But there are Greek people in other countries in Europe, and there's Greek people in the United States and Canada, and their language is generally about the same no matter where you go. Just about the same. They speak a version of modern Greek that was actually started a long time ago, but just recently they've dropped a bunch of the breath symbols and things that they would use in their writing. This was officially dropped by the Greek government in 1976, I believe. But any Greek person from anywhere in the world, they're going to use about the same words when they describe things. And with English, it's not that way. We describe things or say particular sentences in completely different ways, even when you're talking about two different people from the same state. It's very interesting. How many uses there are for supper, dinner, and lunch? Yep, and the times that they are used, it really does vary. I've seen people who call the middle of the day break, which in German would be Mittagessen, which would be the lunch, is what I call it, lunch. I've heard of a number of people use dinner for that. And that's usually people who will have breakfast, dinner, and supper. And then there's other people who will have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or breakfast, lunch, and supper. But I've heard it describe breakfast, dinner, and supper. Just interesting stuff. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and take off. I'm going to get this floor sorting taken care of, and then I've got to go run my errands. Got to make it to the post office within the next 45 minutes. So I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll come back this evening, or I'll work on trying to come back this evening for the other two reveals. You guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you later.